And I hope you're well. So here we have a clip of another gem from the genius that is Cabdace Owens regarding dinosaur bones. Now I've got some queued up some facts and tidbits and stuff, but let's hear what this. Yeah, like you just want to hit yourself in the head with a hammer. How people can follow this idiot is beyond me.
That's very recent, right? That's the first time they were like,
yeah,
it's very 1850. That's very recent, right? That's very recent, right?
Let's skip it.
The older no concept of a dinosaur until 1850. That's very recent, right? That's the first time.
That's not exactly true. Let's go to my wee research to so it was the 1700s, Cabdace, but what it says is, while ancient humans and early civilizations likely found dinosaur bones without knowing what they were, so they would have likely have thought it was, we think about it, in Britain we have in Wales we have the dragon, Scotland our animals a unicorn, blah blah blah. In China, they believed in dragons. So when they're finding all these bones, they probably thought these were large mythological creatures. Ancient Greece, all of them thought they had cyclops and that kind of stuff. Now, when people started to become more enlightened and people got more scientific and using scientific measures, then they started to realise, no, maybe the concept of a dragon, maybe we were being wrong. Maybe a pterodactyl that's been found that people would assume was a dragon. Maybe these were just, maybe we got that wrong. And then when more exploration was done and it was found that the planet was impacted by an asteroid, and this can be found by evidence of asteroid hits all over the planet. There's a large one in South Africa. So this would cause an extinction level event that wiped out everything. Everything. Being inside an extinction level event would literally be close to being on hell on earth. Everything would get incinerated. Earthquakes would happen, volcanoes would erupt. It would be horrendous. Let's hear what else she has to say.
No concept of dinosaur until 1850. That's very recent.
That's because it's science, you dummy. And it's not, you got the date wrong.
That's the first time they were like, we actually think that there were these reptiles that are roaming the planet, and then within that same decade...
No, they actually thought there were animals that roamed the planet beforehand, but people got them confused, and we've got it here. So we've got classic antiquity. Ancient Greeks and Romans found fossils but explained them as epic tales of mythical creatures or giants. So there was a concept of them, Cabdace. They're just, but because science wasn't as advanced as it is, it started as it is when you've got the 15, 16, 1700s, where science was making great leaps. They were passed off, these giant bones would have been passed off as large mythical creatures.
Same decade, they were like, dinosaur bones, and they started finding them everywhere. I'm like, okay, so nobody found this, and then
no, they weren't just found everywhere, Cabdace. They weren't found everywhere. There's
entire museums, and in China they have actually been caught manufacturing dinosaur bones.
A lot of museums and that will use replicas of dinosaur bones because you realise how old actual dinosaur bones are, Cabdace. Dinosaurs were on the planet 65 million years ago. Listen for me, dum-dum. Their bones become brittle, and they're just very easily destroyed. Do you want a 65 million year old piece of history destroyed, or would you create copies to have that out for people to look at and keep the rare items in the vault? That's what you would do.
Times over, and it is the case that dinosaur bones, for whatever reason, are always just found by the paleontologists.
Because that is their area of expertise, idiot. People go to school and study. People become doctors. Would I go to I don't know, let me think. Would I go to a physicist and ask them to perform brain surgery on me, or open heart surgery? Would I go to a lawyer and ask them to sew up and stitch a wound for me? No, because that's not their area. Would I go to a doctor and ask them to represent me in court? No, because that's not their area of expertise. So people go to school and learn about this stuff. So people go to school and they'll learn about paleontology. They study it for years. You don't grasp that concept. Only found by the paleontologists. Yeah, because these are the people, they're not only found by paleontologists. When dig sites and that are found, paleontologists are brought in, and they don't just to have a look at what's being found, and then they can extrapolate from that if these are dinosaur bones or just a dead animal. But the deeper down, obviously, the bones are found because it was 65 million years ago, you bloody idiot. Is a good indicator, along with the sediment found alongside the bones. They can tell by that how long these bones and that have been in this ground, if it happened during an extinction level event. Jeez, utterly. And these are what these scientists look at. They don't just find a bone and go, dinosaur bone.
I was just walking with Savannah, my manager, because we do like these little evening walks, and just looked up to her and I was like, dinosaurs? That sounds pretty fake and gay. She's Savannah's from Tennessee. She's like, I've never believed in dinosaurs. Like, literally, this is, everyone thinks there's like some conspiracy behind it. Like, that was how it started. And I was like, what on earth?
Nobody thinks.
Like, it's funny because
nobody thinks there's a conspiracy behind it, Candace. Just every regular critical thinker just thinks you're an idiot. That's it, plain and simple.
Will literally say they don't believe in God, but then tell them like dinosaurs aren't real, they fall apart. Like, I'm like, okay.
See, the thing is, I do believe in God, but God is based on faith, Candace. Faith. Where we have actual physical evidence that these creatures were on Earth 65 million years ago and were wiped out by a catastrophic event. So you can't equate the two together.
Okay, so they're just roaming the planet.
Yeah.
Like, that's really interesting. But then,
why wouldn't they be roaming the planet? They were here. They were here 65 million years ago, living on the bloody planet. Numbnuts.
No concept of dinosaur until 1850. That's very recent.
Not true. Like I said, not true. It was 1500. But, like I said before, people did have the concept of large creatures, but they didn't know what they were because science isn't like what it... I've already said this.
Right, that's the first time they were like, we actually think that there were these reptiles that are roaming the planet, and then within that same decade, they were like, dinosaur bones! And they started finding them everywhere. I'm like, okay, so nobody found this, and then like suddenly there's entire...
They never said that we actually think there was these reptiles that roamed the planet, and then in the next decade, dinosaur bones. No, bones had been found. People started studying, didn't know what they were, and then came to looked at things like DNA, that looked at their markers, and then thought, oh, these were giant reptiles that obviously maybe roamed the planet, all these. And then the more advanced science has got, the better as scientists have understood this. But beforehand, They did think giant reptiles were roamed the planet, Candace. They just thought they were things like dragons and giant snakes and this. She's utterly, utterly. I swear to God, your brain cells literally fall out your head when you listen to Cabdace Owens. How people can sit and listen to her give and see her as a factual, truthful reporter, as someone that is evidence based, especially the Charlie Kirk so-called investigation that she does. She can't even look at scientific evidence. And so what our investigation with Charlie Kirk, well, what's that? It's not going to be then evidence based. She's not going to look at the evidence, the scientific evidence of. Honestly, I have no words for how utterly dumb she is. And for the fact that people follow this dumb.
Museums and in China they have actually been caught manufacturing dinosaur
Yeah,
bones many times over.
China steals intellectual property. They're caught stealing stuff and replicate every little bit of tat and fake bags and shoes. All comes from China. We're well aware, Candace, that China does fake shit. So yeah, they're going to mass produce bloody dinosaur bones as well. China, it's China for you. The kings of making fake shit.
It is the case that dinosaur bones, for whatever reason, are always just found by the paleontologists. Like I was just walking with Savannah, my manager, because we do like these little evening walks.
I even saw, so they're just repeating this. I even saw a clip where she's like, I cannot believe where these dinosaurs are just walking around and some asteroid comes and like takes them out. That doesn't seem real. I'm like, I just want to put my hands on my head and go, oh my God. You do realise that there's evidence for this. There's literally all over the earth there's evidence for this. And even if you're a faith-based person, that you can't believe everything can be wiped out by an asteroid. I thought you believed in God, Candace, because there's been many times God, i.e. Noah, has taken his wrath upon the world and literally wiped everything out. I mean, he left Noah and his family and took to every animal, I guess, to repopulate the earth. But everything else had to go. There was a clean out of the closet. But the fact that we have literal asteroid, meteor, whatever, impact sites on the Earth. There's one in Russia, happened just a few decades back. What does she think actually caused like the Younger Dryas event and the floods? You can look at it from a face-based fact, the Noah story, or you can look at it from the scientific. Either way, a flood event happened, which is still I believe in God, because said it in the Bible, and scientists came to find out that it actually did happen thousands or millions of years before that. Sorry, millions. I'll say millions because it's literally millions. And but she doesn't even go that route. If she even went like, she's just unbelievable. Let's go back. In 1766, naturalist Robert Plot found an unusually large thigh bone in a Cornwall quarry. Now, that's likely where you're going to find dinosaur bones or fossilised anything, because they're going to be buried deep underground. She even says, this is what she said, why aren't humans going around just falling over, like finding fossils and dinosaur bones? I honestly wanted to like hit my head off the wall. Why would humans be? I thought, what? Of course, humans aren't going to be walking around tripping over dinosaur bones, dummy. These are This is an event that happened 65 million years ago. These fossils are under the bloody ground, hence why they're found in dig sites, quarries and things like that. They're not just lying around on the road. So they found a massive femur and thought initially they misattributed it to a giant human. This is what I mean. They didn't know back then, so they are thinking they found this giant bone, and they're like, oh, giants must have lived. And until advances in science go on, and then they're able to do DNA research and realize that this isn't a human bone. It came from a giant. This is it's from a reptile. English naturalist William Buckland officially documented and described the Megalosaurus, marking the first time a dinosaur was formally recognised as a giant extinct reptile. 1842, biologist Sir Richard Owen coined the word dinosaur, meaning fearful great lizard. After studying the shared characteristics of the Megalosaurus, and so I'm guessing that's an iguana, and a Hylosaurus. I'm not a paleontologist. I don't know how you spell dinosaur words. Anyway, I don't know how to pronounce dinosaur names. I have to apologise. My head is literally thumping, and I'm finding it very hard to concentrate at the moment. But I just saw this clip and I thought, for real, and people actually follow and believe and hang on every word of this dummy when she doesn't even look at anything from a scientific standpoint. I can't even get angry. Because it's now what I've come to accept from the ilks of people like Cabdace Owens. But I used to follow Cabdace Owens, and that makes me feel ashamed because I used to trust her word. I used to think she knew what she was talking about. And now I feel like an idiot. Now I do every single... So when someone says something online, don't take their word for it. Please, don't take my word for shit. I'm not an expert in anything. I'm just a person on here giving my opinion like an asshole. Everyone has one, and everyone has an opinion. So don't ever take someone's word for fact. Don't do it. Go and do your own research, because what I could be saying something in this video that could possibly be wrong. And if I am, I apologise for that, and I always accept, yeah, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm only going based on what I'm reading. That's it. So do not ever take anybody's word for it. Go and do your own research. Come to your own conclusions. Don't just blindly follow someone like these lunatics are following Cabdace Owens, hanging on her every word, and then attacking a widow and blaming her for all the world's armies for the murder of her husband. Go look at the evidence. Wait until the court trial happens. Wait until the court produces evidence. There's going to be it's just been ruled. There's going to be cameras in the court. Cabdace Owens doesn't know shit. She has no idea what the prosecution has or doesn't have. She doesn't know shit. She wasn't even there. She's going off tips and emails from her dum-dums that follow her. She forgets what she said 8 episodes ago, and then tells a totally different story, forgetting that she said a completely opposite thing 8 episodes ago. And then I'll go, she flip-flops him back and does this all the time. She just either misremembers or she's doing it on purpose. But I beg of people, do not take Cabdace Owens' word as fact. Do not do it. Do your own research. Wait for the trial. Everyone thought that Johnny Depp had beaten Amber Heard until they watched the trial and they could see the evidence for themselves, and the public opinion changed when they could see the actual evidence, when Johnny's team was able to produce what evidence he had. Because beforehand, he didn't have the option to do that. So take a breather, people. Wait, see what evidence the court has. Wait for the trial. Do your own research. See what they have at the moment. But don't form your opinion as fact based on what bloody Cabdace Owens is telling you. Anyway, I'm gonna get going. I've got I'm gonna make a live stream tonight. My live cut off last night by accident. I lost my connection, and it was getting to the most important part. So I might do that tonight, and I've also got another video that I've got coming. But anyway, just please, for the love of life, like, do not take, just don't take someone's word for it because it's your favourite influencer. No, everyone's human and everyone gets facts wrong. Everyone. Wait until you see actual substantiative evidence. Not just, trust me, bro, from Cabdace Owens. Alright, I love y'all, and I'll see you later.